The trend for ever more extravagant and far-flung stag and hen do's continues. Las Vegas, New York, Barcelona, all very popular choices. But is the cost getting out of hand? And not just the cost if you're going on one of these trips, but for the planet. We're joined by Jess Wiles, who's a creative partner at Hubbub and the project lead on the Just Wing It campaign. Good morning to you, Jess.
Morning.
Good morning. Did you like my turkey impersonation?
It was wonderful.
Thank you very much. If you have anything you'd like to throw in, please feel free. So what's the problem with the stag and hen do's then?
So the environmental impact of our flying habits has been increasingly in the spotlight, and we wanted to look into thought hen and stag to be a good example of a trip that are often involving a flight abroad. Actually, flying is one of the biggest things you can do to reduce your carbon footprint. So actually, if you swap Barcelona for Brighton, that can reduce your impacts on climate change and your emissions by 98%. So equally, swapping Manchester instead of going to Las Vegas is the equivalent of going vegan for a year and a half. So it's a really impactful choice.
Yeah, but Jess, come on. I mean, Manchester for Las Vegas, I mean, how are you going to sell that to people?
Well, actually, we did some research and found we asked people what they wanted from their ideal trip. And very clearly it came out that people wanted great nightlife, to try something new, but ultimately to spend quality time with their friends and family. People only wanted to go away for a night or two and to sort of have something that's quite affordable, that often they found existing trips to be really expensive. So a lot of people actually resented the organiser, and about a third had even turned down an invite on the basis of cost. So we think all of those things from an ideal trip are easily available in the UK and actually can take away some of the hassle factor. So 3 in 5 people we asked thought that trips were too long, too expensive and involved too much travel. And I really see that sort of speaking to friends and family, that they're feeling quite a lot of obligation to go on these trips.
All right, so you think you might be pushing a bit of an open door here in that people would welcome the opportunity to kind of rethink these fairly extravagant trips and time-consuming as well. Well, I've got for you, let me introduce you, Jess, to Scottish comedian Grant Gallagher, who loves a good stag do, don't you, Grant?
Oh, yes. It's definitely not the bane of my life as a comedian. I love a stag do.
You love a stag do. So, you've heard what Jess says. Would you be willing to consider perhaps somewhere much closer to home rather than, I don't know, Las Vegas, Barcelona, Amsterdam, wherever you might find yourself?
I mean, definitely. I wouldn't be totally against going to somewhere in the UK, but I do also think that it's if people want to go abroad for a stag do, if they want to go somewhere, my cousin on his stag do, we all went to Amsterdam, and it wasn't that expensive a trip. It was good fun, and it just gives you a chance to get away and do something a little bit different, which was a lot of fun. Also, I do sort of think a little bit when people are saying that it's the environmental impact. I'm a committed environmentalist. I really do want to try and save the planet as much as I can. But I really don't like the idea that it's been put entirely down to individual choice when there are massive companies out there that are doing much more to damage the environment than, Tam and his mates going to, Prague for a weekend or something like that.
But, I mean, I suppose it's an opportunity for you to do your bit. It might not solve the problem, but it will show from you, a bit of a willingness to contribute.
Definitely. I mean, and I'm all for any measure that helps with the environment and things like that. But as I say, I don't really think that people are going on these foreign stag or hen do's that often. I mean, I've only been on one, and I'm 30. Although that might just be because I'm not all that much fun. Who knows? But I don't think that many people are going on multiple of these trips. As you said at the start, they are expensive, but compared to a night out in the UK, certainly, especially somewhere really expensive like London. I'm in Prague at the moment on my European comedy tour, and you can come here for very little money and spend a tiny fraction of what you would spend back at home on a night out. And you're also in a new place, meeting new people, and it's an exciting destination. So
Yeah, so the appeal is pretty obvious. Alicia Curry's the marketing manager at Hag and Sten weekends, or even Hen and Stag weekends. It was that turkey impersonation that did it. Hi, Alicia.
Are you okay?
I don't know. I don't know if I am, to be honest. I can't get my words out.
It's actually henweekends.co.uk and stagweekends.co.uk.
All right, okay. God, thanks for that. I don't think I could have managed that myself.
Very complicated, 2 different websites.
So, I mean, how popular are the sort of far-flung, fairly extravagant Stag and Hen events?
I mean, they're always popular, we all seen a bit of a change that they're not as popular as they used to be. We're seeing a little bit of a mix now that more people are staying in the UK for their hen and stag parties. But I think you're always going to see that people are going to want to go abroad. And again, obviously, it depends on budget. And we do kind of send them to different destinations depending on budget and working around that for them. And we actually set up an online portal where everyone can pay in instalments just to try and make it easier for the groups. And it means that the organiser doesn't take the stress of trying to pay for everyone and claim all the money back. And the girls and the guys don't have to worry about kind of putting a massive fee up front. They can actually pay in instalments.
What is the average spend?
I mean, it varies. You're looking kind of at a hen party around 150 and for a stag party around 180.
Right. Well, you're not going to go to Las Vegas on that, are you?
No, you're definitely not. And again, obviously, we send hundreds of thousands of hens and stags out every year. And your Vegas ones are quite rare because obviously a lot of people don't have that kind of budget. We have lots of stags that come in wanting to go Vegas, and then once they realise kind of, how much it is for the flights and everything on top, then a lot of the times they will normally change to kind of Barcelona, Puerto Banús, Marbella, Prague, that kind of place, really.
Right. So the most popular destinations are those ones that you've just cited, are they?
I mean, yes. So Barcelona, Benidorm, Marbella, Puerto Banús, Albufeira are kind of our top European destinations. And then in the UK, our top destinations would be Newcastle, Manchester, Nottingham, London, Bristol, Brighton, those sort of places.
Okay. And when people are making these decisions, I mean, is the impact on climate change high on their agenda?
Well, I actually read the report last week and actually had a conversation with my director saying maybe we should look at doing some low-carbon hen and stag weekends. It's something that's becoming much more popular now. Everybody wants to do their little bit. And it's definitely something that we take quite seriously here and are looking to see what more we can do to, help them out in that situation. Because, we're a different generation now and that is going to start to change. We definitely want to ensure that, we've been doing this industry for 25 years now. So we like to make sure that we're trying to link ways of kind of doing different things.
Right. Okay. So you think that there may be some traction in that?
Definitely. I mean, we're seeing a change that, hen and stags now are wanting to do much more bucket list activities when they go away. And also, obviously, people are getting married later on in life. So they're looking now for more kind of destinations that they've never visited before and doing something kind of bucket list. And it's their chance to kind of have, a girly weekend away or a guy's weekend away. But they want to actually do something and achieve something while they're away as well. So again, I definitely see that changing, that something like carbon neutral hen and stag parties could become quite popular.
On the price, though, funny enough, I had to go to Newcastle last week, and the price of the train ticket was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, on a financial basis, I'd certainly been better to drive. There's no two ways about it. So, I mean, it doesn't always work out, Jess, that because you're closer to home, it's going to be cheaper. I mean, as Grant was saying, probably getting to Prague and having a weekend in Prague, if that was your choice, he's there for work at the moment, could easily work out cheaper.
Sure. So we actually, the people we surveyed, we found that when they were going abroad, they were spending about £420. But in the UK, it was costing them about 40% less, about £260. And that was the level that people said they were more willing to spend. So I appreciate while sort of maybe some drinks and things could be cheaper once you're there, there's actually a lot of hidden extra costs in travelling, particularly flying, sort of airport transfers and added extras and things. I mean, certainly trains can be more expensive or sometimes staying locally, but I think it very much depends on kind of what you do, and there's good ways to make savings in terms of travelling as a group, using rail cards, booking ahead and off-peak as well.
As Grant was saying, though, for the individual, and of course you're counting up all of the trips that are taken, but for the individual, this is a very, very special occasion, which hopefully, is going to be a one-off occasion in terms of it in advance of a wedding. It tends to be a time that people are going to want to do something quite special. And there is a great joy, isn't there, in travelling and going to another country and experiencing another culture. The weather is often a factor. Is there a danger you're going down a killjoy road here?
So absolutely, travel can be a really enriching experience. And we're not saying don't fly. For your hard-earned holiday, that's definitely an amazing thing. But what we have found is that people are going on sort of multiple per year and are feeling the pressure to attend and all the kind of cost and hassle that goes along with that. And actually, when speaking to people, they haven't really listed weather as something that's a priority. It's much more about quality time with friends and family and just ultimately having fun and being together. And so that doesn't necessarily mean you have to get on a plane to do it. And actually, you can reduce some of the hassle, some of the early morning rises for the airport, enjoy the journey, and really just have a good time without having to take that flight. So we're not saying don't fly. We're just saying consider the alternatives. And there are great options both in the UK or to travel over ground.
Yeah, well, I guess it does just become a trend, doesn't it? It's what people tend to do. And if you offer them an alternative that is equally attractive, then, probably they will say, yeah, all right, okay. If it's a wee bit cheaper and I am doing my bit for the planet and we're still going to have a great time, then why not? Jess, thank you very much indeed.